Hey, so I just discovered a pretty cool feature in Vim, neovim, both Vim and neovim. Maybe Vi if you're still on Vi, I don't know. But marks. It's called marks and it's gonna change your life. It changed my life already, which is crazy because I just figured out what it was like 20 minutes ago. So let's say you're very often opening a file and then jumping to a certain point. So let's say, for example, I really just want to jump to this closing bracket for some reason. What I can do, instead of having to do like, if I'm at the top of the file, instead of 12J, or if it was a longer file, instead of manually scrolling down to it, what I can do, I can hit M and then any letter, and then I've just created a marker at this location. So if I go to the top of the file again, and then I type single quote, and then that same letter, in my case E, so single quote E, I'm going to jump right there. But while that's cool, you can also do it between files, and that's where things get really cool, in my opinion. So, right now, what I have, I'm working on these two functions between files. So, I've created markers for them because I was getting really tired of opening up my telescope and then, going to the blah blah blah. I mean, obviously, I would type it normally, and then having to manually find this function right here, and then I'd have to go back, reader, and that just gets annoying. I can use harpoon, but it still gets a little bit annoying having to go back to where I was. So instead, what I can do, if you create a marker with an uppercase letter, let's say MT, you've just created an uppercase marker. And what that is, my beautiful friend watching this, it lets you jump between files. It lets you jump to markers between files. So I have another one. It's bound to uppercase R. It's at that function we were just at in the other file. So if I hit single quote uppercase R, boom, I'm right there in my read block function. I want to jump back to the other file. I just hit single quote T, uppercase T, boom, I'm right there. I just found this and I really want to talk about it with somebody, but you don't have a lot of friends who use neovim in your life. I'm gonna be honest. You can meet a lot of people, but once in a blue moon will you find a neovim user in real life. So there's my video. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Let me figure out how to